What's up, guys? Today we are tackling one of the ultimate history boss questions. What if the Library of Alexandria never burned? Most people think of this as just a lost collection of books. But in reality, the library was the world's first true think tank. It was the Google, the NASA, and the Library of Congress all rolled into one. If it had stayed open, the timeline of human history wouldn't just be different, it would be unrecognizable. The scientific fast forward, if the library had survived, the biggest change would be the acceleration of technology. We have to remember that the scholars, they were already on the verge of modern breakthroughs. The steam age in 200 AD, as I mentioned, Hero of Alexandria created a steam-powered device. In our timeline, that idea gathered dust for 1,500 years. If the library stayed open, scholars likely would have figured out how to use that steam to pump water or grind grain. We're talking about an industrial revolution happening while the Roman Empire was still at its peak, calculus and physics. Archimedes was already using infinitesimals, the building blocks of calculus, over 1,000 years before Isaac Newton was even born. With the library intact, complex physics and engineering could have been standardized by the year 500. Mapping the stars and the globe, the library was the headquarters for ancient geography. Eratosthenes used the scrolls there to calculate the circumference of the Earth with incredible accuracy. Early exploration. If those maps hadn't been lost or tucked away, the age of discovery might have happened a millennium earlier. Astronomy. Aristarchus of Samos had already proposed a heliocentric model, the Earth moving around the Sun. Without the library's destruction, this could have become the global standard, skipping the centuries of persecution and scientific darkness that followed. The fall of Rome, the medical dark ages that never happened. This is perhaps the most tragic loss. The library held the records of Herophilus and Erasistratus, who were performing actual dissections and studying the human nervous system. The survival rate. When the library's influence faded, medical knowledge regressed. For centuries, doctors went back to bloodletting and praying away infections. The what if that anatomical knowledge had been preserved and built upon, we might have understood germ theory by the 10th century. Imagine the Black Death being stopped in its tracks because medieval doctors actually understood hygiene and biology. The butterfly effect on culture. It wasn't just science. It was our collective memory. The library had a policy. Every ship that docked in Alexandria had to turn over its books to be copied. We would have a 3D view of the ancient world instead of the grainy, black and white version we have today. Our understanding of human nature, ethics, and politics would be built on a much deeper foundation, the reality check. Now, to keep it 100 with you guys, some historians argue that the collapse of the Roman economy would have happened anyway. Books are great, but you need a stable society to read them. However, even if the empire fell, having a central backup of human knowledge would have meant the Dark Ages were more of a dim afternoon. The recovery would have been decades, not centuries. So what do you think? Would we be living in a Star Trek world by now? Or is human conflict unavoidable regardless of how many books we have?